In 1934, on a visit to the Bellary region, Mahatma Gandhi was greatly impressed with its natural beauty. "Come to Sandur in September," he had said, and that sentence became a symbol of pride for this area of dense forests, grasslands, and streams, littered with the ruins of ancient Vijayanagar, telling of its glorious past. Today, unfortunately, Sandur is devastated, its mountains scarred, forest cover vanishing, and its fertile land brutally dug up, all resulting from one of the most ruthless mining operations in history. Amazingly, like a mythical monster, we know of it only from its footprints, for the mining itself has been halted, thanks to some dedicated public servants, Supreme Court judges of high integrity, and outraged citizenry, led by the committed activists of the Samaj Parivartan Samudaya. Iron ore mining is not new here. It has been going on for decades. But the floodgates opened in 1993 with the decision to allow private mining. This was part of the changing economic policy that saw pursuit of profit as the engine of progress. Then something happened in 1999 when, in a high-stakes game, the Bharatiya Janata Party chose Sushma Swaraj to challenge Sonia Gandhi in a bid for a safe election from Bellary, a seat that had been a Congress stronghold for years. She almost won, polling 47% of the votes against Sonia's 51%. Behind this spectacular challenge to the Nehru dynasty were a bunch of political novices who would later gain notoriety as the Reddy brothers. In the next decade, they will use their political clout to build an empire out of the mining of iron ore, a most spectacular example of stealing from the commons. There never was a better time for the mining business. The privatization frenzy was in full swing. New leases were being given rapidly and old ones renewed. Then came the China boom. China was preparing for the Olympics and needed steel, lots of it. But, as always, the road to riches was via the government. Janardhan Reddy was close to Y.S. Rajashekhar Reddy, the then Congress Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. And by 2008, the Reddy brothers had also cornered the BJP government in Karnataka as ministers of tourism, revenue, health, and milk production. Soon, Janardhan Reddy was to become the minister in charge of Bellary. What resulted was essentially a parallel government in which the Reddy brothers mined the land voraciously, breaking all the rules and overcoming all resistance by intimidation, bribery, or sheer arrogance.
Just for record's sake, they took some permission. After digging, when they found that good quality of ore is available beyond their permitted area, they started extracting that also.
And it was that time that we felt that there is a very gross abuse of power. And they are using the ill-gotten money, means wealth that is generated by illegal mining, to basically further control the politics of both Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka.
With a 10% operating expense and a mere 1% royalty to the state, the profit was enormous. More than enough to buy anyone who stood in the way. Over 700 officials and 400 companies abetted the corrupt process in one way or the other.
Right from small level worker to top bureaucracy. The DC, the superintendent, the police officer, the mines and geology, forest department, everything was subservice to the Reddy brothers.
The old Suvalamma temple, located in the protected forest land, but unfortunately sitting atop a particularly rich vein of ore, was ruthlessly blasted, and no one said a thing.
हिल के टॉप में ये टेम्पल था वहाँ सुगलम्मा का.
अच्छा.
उन्होंने क्या किया, वो ब्लास्ट किया वहाँ पे
ऊपर ऐसे।
और ब्लास्ट करने के बाद वो मूर्ति को लेकर के यहाँ बताए हैं।
अच्छा अच्छा।
ये नया
नहीं आई मैडम बोल भी
एक ख्वाब वो बताते हैं कि जनार्दन रेड्डी जब ख्वाब में आके वो देवी बोली कि मैं भीगते हुए यहाँ बैठी हूँ,
अच्छा।
उसको लेके जाके नीचे बताओ, इसलिए वो मंदिर बना के यहाँ नीचे बताए।
ऊपर से वो मंदिर सारा नीचे ले आया।
हाँ,
वो देवी
नहीं, वो ब्लास्ट करके यहाँ
नया मंदिर बना दिया। The Associated Mining Company of Janardhan Reddy was granted permission to increase its yearly extraction from 152,000 to 1,000,000 tons from a mere 25-acre piece of land.
ऐसा एक स्टेप होना होगा तो
5 साल।
5 साल, लेकिन इन्होंने किया है 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, वहाँ तो ज़्यादा है अभी
35 years.
35 ईयर्स, ये खाली 10 साल में हो गया।
Leases were obtained illegally or they simply mined without a lease, consistently encroaching on forest land as well as on other people's mines. Other miners were forced to pay a tax to the Reddy brothers. Those who refused were denied permission to transport ore, while those who resisted were beaten up.
So, you see, we are here. Suglamadevi temple, you saw the destruction there. Okay. Now, this is why Mahabaleshwarappa. These white, up to certain level white, and then the sticks.
Okay.
So, these are the boundaries between why Mahabaleshwarappa company and the BIOP.
Okay.
These are non-Reddy brothers owned things. These are the two major ones here.
Okay.
So now you see these other things coming there.
Poles.
The poles.
Right.
Those poles are beyond that is the OMC one.
I see.
So this is the tri-junctional area.
Right.
This bit.
Right.
So what they did in January 14, very important, January 14, 2008.
Right.
So they saw this whole thing exposed,
I see.
and it was the highest ore. It's real gold.
Right.
69% is absolutely the highest we can get.
Right.
So they armed people entered into the BIP area.
I see.
So these people basically they were threatened and they ran away.
I see.
And that was the beginning of things. And that is when Mr. Modi is the owner of the BIOP.
I see.
He went to High Court of Andhra Pradesh because police would not register an FIR.
I see.
So powerful with Vairashekar Reddy.
In order to circumvent the limit, the ore was exported through Goa, disguised as domestic consumption. To keep them quiet, farmers were given money for crop damage. Each panchayat was given 10,000 rupees every month. And during elections, they loaded people with television, silk sarees, and bikes, all given free.
due to dust they are not getting their crop, so mine owners are paying some compensation to these farmers.
Now, with the big guys setting the tone, everyone got into the act. Surface mining became rampant. People demolished their homes to dig ore from underneath. Farmers quit agriculture and leased their lands to small mining groups. Poor women stood on roads with baskets to collect the ore that fell off from the passing trucks, each basket selling for 35 rupees.
40,000. They have given their land for 1,20,000 rupees. 1,20,000 rupees.
Right. For
So
11 months.
11 months. 3 people are partners in that. Each one get profit of 1,00,000 rupees apart from this 1,20,000.
I see.
That means 4,20,000 rupees they have earned.
They have earned. 3 of them.
3 of them. ಅದು ಒಕ್ಕಲ್ತನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಕ್ಕಲ್ತನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಎಕರೆಗೆ ಒಂದು 1,000 ಪರ್ ಎಕರ್ 10,000 ಮಳೆ ಬೇಸ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ
25,000. Drivers, often mere 15-year-old boys, barreled up and down the treacherous mountains to make as many trips as possible. More than 5,000 trucks were transporting ore every night on roads that has been reduced to dirt paths. Small eating places mushroomed along the way. Laborers made up to 250 rupees a day, more than 3 times they would have made in agriculture work.
पड़ता था एक दिन को कितना?
एक दिन को 120, 130, 200 लगा गिरता था साहब एक दिन को।
आपके आसपास और भी जो एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट है वो सब यही कर रहे थे.
ಅವರು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ.
Yet, ignored in the heady brew of this wild west atmosphere, the area, its people, and its ecology were suffering. This mining that employed a mere 5% in 2001 was decimating the agricultural base that employed many times more. The topsoil was being destroyed, and the dust reduced the crop yield severely, with nothing growing in up to 5 kilometers on either side of the road. The bore wells had gone dry, the ancient tanks silted. Silt also appeared in the Tungabhadra reservoir, threatening irrigation of 2 million hectares of productive land.
ಸರ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ರೋಡ್ ಐತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ 5 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಇತ್ತಾಗ 5 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಸುತ್ತ 5 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ
300 meter. 5 kilometers this side, both side.
In fact, the CEC estimated that 45% of the green cover in Bellary had been lost. Cattle rearing, another major occupation, was also severely impacted. At the same time, transportation of the ore, mostly done without any rules and with no or little effort to avoid dust exposure, was another major source of harm. The truck drivers drove with abandon, causing accidents, killing and maiming people. कैसे हुआ?
ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸಾರನ ಮೆಣಸಿನ ನನ್ನ ಗಂಡ ಗಡಗೆಲ್ಲಿದ್ದ ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಗಡಗೆಲ್ಲಿದ್ದ ಮೆಣಸಿನಾಗ ಇಷ್ಟು ದಾಳಿದ ದುಡ್ಡ ಮೆಣಸಿನ ನನಗೆ ಏನೋ ಲಾಭ ಇಲ್ಲ ಕೂಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇವಾಗ ನನಗೆ.
His son also died in the accident. His husband also is injured in the mining.
और ऐसे कई हम गरीब मजदूरों के किसी के पति गए हैं, किसी के बच्चे गए हैं और स्कूल को जाने वाले बच्चे गए हैं. ऐसे बहुत सारी दुखी औरतें हैं. अगर आप हमारे उधर आते हैं तो उनके हालात आप आंखों से देख सकते हैं, क्योंकि उनको जेसीपी से मिट्टी में मूछ दिया जाता था. ऐसे कई हादसे हुए हैं जो अभी तक बाहर नहीं है और हम मुंह खोल नहीं पा रहे.
मेरे को फिंगर कट हो रहा वो माइनिंग में. Yes, injuries in accident mining.
So he's not gotten any. अभी तक कुछ नहीं मिला.
नहीं मिलेगा. अभी वो माइनिंग में हम काम करता था ना, वो इलीगल एक्टिविटीज कैसे कर रहा हो ऐसे कर रहा हो हम देखता रहता ना. मैं 1991 टोटली सर्वे
The all-pervading dust caused severe respiratory problems and made even the cattle sick.
ಬಂದ ಸರ್ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ನಾವು.
जो ये धूल के स्थिति, ये अस्थमा वगैरह ज़्यादा है, टीबी ज़्यादा है और इनका एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्शन भी कम हो रहा था उस टाइम में. ये
जानवरों पे भी इसका असर हुआ है.
And yet, despite the infusion of all this money, there was hardly any development. In 2005, Bellary was still 10th from the bottom in terms of the Human Development Indices in Karnataka.
There is no house, there is no current in the house, there is no roads, there is no medical facilities, nothing. There is a single naya paisa spent for the interest of the those who are working in the mines area.
And with easy money came the usual social problems. Gambling, prostitution, and crime all went up, as did gun licenses. It isn't that the powers that be were unaware of the mess. As many as 7 regulatory agencies totally failed in stemming the rot. In 2001, the Ministry of Environment and Forest had ordered that no fresh leases be given till a detailed environment impact assessment was done. NERI, the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, issued a report in 2004 with recommendations on dust control, storage and transportation, noise reduction, safe disposal of waste, as well as the restoration and stabilization of the abandoned mines. None of this was ever implemented. Karnataka State Pollution Control Board skipped mandatory public hearings or conducted them without the villagers. It turned a blind eye to pollution and did not prosecute even a single company.
200 मीटर्स
I see.
जो मंदिर है या गांव है वो छोड़ के माइनिंग करना है, लेकिन इन्होंने देखो ये कितना 50 फीट भी दूर नहीं।
The Union Minister of Mines set the ore royalty at a paltry 16 to 27 rupees per ton and then forgot as the ore prices skyrocketed. The Director General of Mine Safety ignored child labor and exploitation of women. Many agencies actually promoted this loot. The district administration, in cahoots with forest and revenue officials, illegally reclassified forest area as non-forest to allow mining. At its peak, over 90% of the mining leases in Bellary were on forest land. With this orgy of mining, ore production jumped from 1.2 million tons in 2000 to over 42 million in 10 years. More than half of it was being exported. The prices shot up too. In the 90s, a full truck of ore fetched 1200 rupees. By 2005, a mere ton was bringing 6 times as much. Mounting public pressure eventually forced the state government to ask the Lokayukta for an inquiry in 2007. The mine barons tried to scuttle the probe by hand-picking all the officials of the forest, revenue and police departments.
But on the other hand, we had a very good news that there was an upright, honest Lokayukta of Karnataka in Justice N. Santosh Hegde. And we were fortunate by then to have worked with good government officers so that enough pressure was put on the government of Karnataka to appoint 3 honest, forthright government officers of Lokayukta. Dr. UV Singh, the most respected civil servant in the forest services in Karnataka, and CC itself was part of it. So
when UV Singh, the chief conservator of the forest who led the investigation, persisted, he was physically attacked. Nevertheless, in its report in December 2008, the Lokayukta found severe irregularities in mining, stacking, transportation without permits or with fake permits, overloading, trading, under-invoicing and Benami transactions, and exporting. Referring to the stupendous scale of mining, Lokayukta warned that at this rate, the deposits would not last more than 20 to 30 years. Strong action was recommended, including strictures against the former chief minister, N. Dharam Singh. But the government did little. It was at this point that the Dharwad-based voluntary organization, Samaj Parivartan Samudaya, started looking at this closely. They visited the area to study and interact with local activists and citizen groups.
So when we went to the committee appointed by the government of Karnataka for implementing the Lokayukta report, we found that they did not have an iota of interest or commitment to implement it. In fact, in the field what was happening was the illegal mining was doubled, tripled, quadrupled in many instances. So it was that time that our board met, Samaj Parivartan Samudaya, and we felt that it is time to haul the executive before the judiciary, because that is our constitutional right when the power is abused as we were being abused at that time. So we filed a comprehensive public interest litigation in the Supreme Court of India. But on the other side was basically empowering the poorest of the poor and combining them with similar-minded middle class and others who wanted the laws of the land to be respected and lead a responsible life and respect Mother Nature and preserve natural resources. So
a powerful grassroots agitation was galvanized.
They are the powerful in money. So they are controlled by the money only. So people, those are opposing, those are interest for the protection of the environment, protection of the forest, protection of the future generations. They have made hesitation. They have made many memorandum to the concerned district commissioner and many memorandum to the government body.
So that people's power was building very well. 2 satyagrahas were held, one in Sandur, which is a tehsil place, and also Hospet, that is a tehsil place, in November 2009. And right here, where you are taking the interview, was the largest gathering of 600 satyagrahis on 25th January 2010. And that basically shook the Bellary people, drove away the fear in at least many hearts.
Shocked at the environmental degradation, in February of 10, the court appointed a central empowered committee that surveyed 99 of the 148 mines in Bellary district. Its findings confirmed the worst. Initially in April, the court banned 19 mining companies. Then on July 27, the Lokayukta submitted its final report with the explosive conclusion that between April 2006 and July 2010, the state had lost over 16,000 crores to illegal mining. 2 days later, the Supreme Court ordered complete ban on all private mining in the Bellary district. The ban was subsequently extended to Tumkur and Chitradurg districts. A CBI inquiry also got into full swing. In September, the Reddy brothers and their associates were arrested, and shortly thereafter, the Chief Minister of Karnataka himself was in jail. The court also directed the state government to submit a reclamation and rehabilitation plan. Finally, late in November last year, the court asked CEC to further examine the corporates, Jindal Steel and Adani, for their role in exporting illegally extracted iron ore.
And thanks to our efforts to bring pressure on the government of Karnataka, the honest government officials, in particular the collector of Bellary district, made sure that any illegal mining, whatever quantity, was dispatched after the Supreme Court order, was immediately confiscated and the things were seized.
Nearly 25 million tons of extra ore
Has been removed.
Yeah.
At the ground level, the mining ban has affected around 50,000 people.
Out of 2,500, 2,000 families are around 75% are depending on cooling. 25% families have land, 25%. Even though they have lands, they are depending on rain. If rain not rain, they have to work. Out of 2,500, 1,000 to 1,500.
We're working in the mine.
Mines.
How many are working?
The migrants have already left the area, but many locals are unhappy.
पहले क्या तकलीफ नहीं थी सब हमना मैं चालू रहे टाइम तकलीफ क्या नहीं थी अच्छा पेड़ भर खा रहे थे पेड़ भर को अच्छा कपड़े ये कर रहे माल आ रहा था पैसे आ रहा था सब ये कर रहे थे अब कब मैं बंदी हुआ कि साहब तब से बहुत तकलीफ हो गरीब लोग को
Due to mining, there is 75% bad thing has happened. 25% good thing has happened. Good thing is those who are ready to work in the mines, they earn some money. So that is the good thing. Remaining all are problems. The dust is on the crop.
ತದನಂತರ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಪ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪವಾಗಿ ಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು.
इनका कहना है.
हाँ और ये घोरपड़े के ज़माने में जो और ब्रिटिश के ज़माने में छोटे पैमाने के ऊपर होता था ये सभी और उसके बाद में 95 में जो है तो छोटी छोटी ये आई माइनिंग के लिए कंपनियाँ सभी तो वो लोग करने लगे. उसके बाद में 2002 से ये बड़े पैमाने पर होने लगा इसके जैसे.
हमारे जन्म में से जो पहले से स्टार्ट हुआ
तो आपके माता पिता भी माइनिंग में ही करते थे.
माइनिंग में जो पहले से भी और स्टार्टिंग
Only NMDC is doing mining, and it was very quietly it was doing. But after 2000, lot of big machines came. So it was started and dust problem, diseases.
बुखार आने का ऐसा हो रहा था बीच उल्टे होने का जुलाबा होने का हो रहा बच्चों भी
The laborers are going for small owners.
ये पत्थर खाने का
खेतों में वो और निकालता है ना इलीगल
अच्छा
उसमें काम करते हैं
Wage laborers are scrounging around for mostly non-existent and poorly paying agricultural work.
काम कब बंद हुआ?
अब वो 2 साल में सब काम
2 साल से बंद हुआ।
अब वो खेत हम काले निकालने कपास छुड़ाने जाते हैं आधे लोग हाँ बेलदर काम जा रहे हैं 60 रुपए देते हैं ये 50 रुपए देते हैं मजूरी है वचपेट में बेलदर काम घर हम भरने गए तो 100 रुपए देते हैं
ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಕೂಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಹೊಲಕ್ಕ ಅದು ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಹೋದರೆ 8 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಹೋದರೆ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ 7 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ
What now mine has stopped. So all men are no work.
No work.
They are in the house.
Okay.
And women are going to some coolie works. In the if they gone for agriculture work, they will get 50 rupees.
50 rupees.
If they go for building construction works, they will get 100 rupees.
I see.
But 20 rupees are spent for travel.
Truck drivers are earning less than a third, and many of them are unable to pay back their loans.
गाड़ी 20 पर 8 30,000 कमाता था गाड़ी एक टिप्पर
एक
अब ये दिन में 12,000 10,000 8,000 कमा रहा है
कमाते हैं। आपको कुछ प्रॉब्लम थी उस समय?
प्रॉब्लम है सर क्या करना
नहीं अब तो है, पहले ठीक था।
पहले अच्छा रहता सर अब अच्छा नहीं माल सीज हुआ ना इसलिए फुल डल हो गया
तो आप तो चाहेंगे कि माइनिंग फिर से शुरू हो?
हाँ सर
Hotel business has dropped 70%.
कितना कम बोल रहे हैं? 1/4 रह गए। आसाम में कहाँ से?
असम कर रहे हो
कितने साल से आप इधर है?
4 महीने हो रहे हैं अभी
4 महीने और बचा है।
4 महीने से काम कर रहा है
5,000 रुपया देते हैं।
Some rich farmers and some small farmers gave back their lands to the mine owners. They got money, they are happy. But those who actually want to do agriculture, they have lost their crops. So they become unhappy and their life is very miserable.
आपका 13 एकड़ लिया गया?
13.5 acres.
अभी कुछ आपको पैसा नहीं मिला कंपनी? हाउ मच लैंड आपका लिया?
3.5.
3.5 acre and no compensation?
No compensation, no jobs.
No job. And this is by NDMC? NMDC.
Farmers are no longer getting the support they were getting from the miners, even though they still can't grow anything.
80% कम हो गया।
हाँ 80%
10 bags of bags they will get per acre. But now 3 bags they get.
Only 3.
Persons getting a profit from business whatever by using illegal methods everything they are satisfied they are getting money and they are happy. The people exactly affected like farmers and low class people all they are hesitated.
As if to underscore this ambivalence, one of the mining barons has won a decisive election victory in Bellary even without BJP support. Obviously, people want mining to restart. But how? We need an entirely different paradigm for mining. A healthy relationship between nature, culture, and society is a must. And benefits have to be shared equitably. In the final analysis, this systematic failure of all the regulatory institutions is much more of an issue than all the illegalities combined. There was no accountability, there was no cumulative regional impact assessment.
And how the government officials, the elected representatives, the miners were all hand in glove basically in an excess looting the natural resources of the country, basically the minerals. But when you know you get minerals, you destroy forests, you destroy sources of water, you destroy the land.
In that sense, Bellary is not dissimilar to Singhbhum, Sundargarh, Junagadh, Kota or Raigad. All across India, unfettered capital is aggressively jockeying for a position to gobble up the finite resources that are meant for posterity. Some of these issues are being addressed in the Mines and Minerals Regulation and Development Act of 2011, but we must go beyond that. As Prashant Bhushan, the noted Supreme Court lawyer and activist who led this PIL, articulated, as a nation, we need to decide that some activities can't be given in private hands. Mining should be one of them. And no matter what policy is pursued, the key decision makers should be the local Gram Sabha and not the bureaucrats or politicians in faraway places. Community ownership of natural resources has to be the cornerstone of any strategy to prevent such assaults on our collective wealth and the environment.
भूमि ग्रामक सरकारद्दಲ್ಲ गांव की जमीन गांव की न कि सरकार
कम्युनिटी कंट्रोल के अंदर रहना और ग्राम सभा इसका अंतिम तीर्मान करना और इंडस्ट्री को कोई जमीन नहीं देना, इसके बारे में ठराव किया हुआ है। ग्राम सभा सिग्नेचर किया है प्रेसिडेंट और सेक्रेटरी। ये चीफ मिनिस्टर को भेज दिया।
This inspiring saga has also showcased the phenomenal role played by SPS. That a handful of dedicated activists with tenacity and courage, guiding an aroused and outraged citizenry, can overcome the influence of untold wealth and a ruthless political machine is a testament to the basic human spirit for justice. The task, though, is far from over. Presently, SPS folks are working with the community groups to develop alternative sources of income.
That 26% profit should go to the local people.
SR, as we fondly call Hiremachi, sees a lot of potential in the 25 million tons of confiscated ore that is now owned by the people. He feels that a significant portion of this must be used for regeneration of the ecology, agriculture, and for livelihood development. He also sees a significant role for Narega funds in providing temporary livelihoods to the people affected by the mining ban.
एनआरएसजी काम है जाओ जाओ कहता मालूम था काम था उधर गए तो काम मिलता कि मालूम नहीं था।
ऐसा काम गए तो काम आता बोल को उन लिंगा मनो और रास्ता बता दिया सो हमने
अर्जी डाले झाड़ लग बोले सा सब लोग झाड़
कितना काम किया कितने दिन
15 दिन
काम पैसे नहीं दिए
बाद में हमको ईद आए पैसे दो कहता उन लोग दूसरे कने जाकर पैसे लेकर इन लोगों को दिए।
आधे लोग मिले नहीं साहब, आधे लोग मिले हैं पैसे नहीं दिए उनको। अब वो काम करे रहते ना साहब, गवर्नमेंट
काम किया है पैसे नहीं मिले,
नहीं दिए पैसे दिए नहीं।
Only 33 members are applied.
वो सबको काम मिला 15 दिन का मिला।
IFA has supported SPS for many years, and recently we have provided extra funds so they can enlarge their area of operations for this rehabilitation work. It is heartening to know that our meager funds, while helping the poor directly, are also laying the groundwork for a transformation that could benefit millions.
ಕಡಿಮೆ ಯಾರಿಗೆ